and hand you off. Hey, Andy, Jamie, what's up?
Hey, Scott, thank you very much. Hello, Jamie. How are you, my buddy?
Good day, Andy. Happy Thursday to everybody.
Ah, yes, happy Thursday to you too. And got a good crowd. Thanks, everybody, for coming this afternoon, taking your time out of your day to hopefully learn something. And you're gonna learn something today because, well, I'll just save it for the agenda when I show it to you. I think a few of you guys are going to be excited out there. But let's take care of the disclaimer first, guys. Just want you to know this is for educational purposes only. You're going to hear Jamie and I talking about some stocks, maybe not as much today because I got some other stuff to tell you. But anyway, whatever we talk about, guys, it's not to be construed as investment advice. All right, if that's what you're seeking, you do need to look for a stockbroker, an RIA, somebody who is registered and who can help you with that type of advice. All right, bear with us, you regulars, while we tell all about our 5-star support, education, and training here at Trade Ideas. We got some new people in here. We want to let them know that we understand it's a very powerful software, but it's intuitive, and we are going to show you how intuitive it is, and we're going to help you along the way. And we're going to do that by offering webinars Monday through Thursday in the same time slot, 5 Eastern. If you look over there on the left side of that slide, you will see the ones we have. You're missing in there is the Tuesday webinar. It's hosted by Steve, and I sidekick with him. And in most cases, it's going to be myself, Jamie, or Steve paired up and handling these webinars. But we do on Wednesday, we do give you a treat, and Dan Merkin and Brad Williams. Dan is our CEO, and Brad's our CTO, and that's always a great place to go and watch for stuff coming down the pike, so to say. And then Friday support session, guys, tomorrow at 11 Eastern time until 2, scheduled for 3 hours, we have a support session, and it's just a Q&A. You come in there and ask questions, and we answer them. Same kind of format as you see here. We use GoToWebinar, so we can demonstrate things for you, and I tell you, there's a lot to learn in those things. And let me not forget the Traders Room, and I'm sure everybody in here, most everybody probably knows about that already. If you don't, guys, this is free to everybody. Do not have to be a subscriber, okay? It's a place where you can go and watch over the shoulder of our moderator, Barry Einerson, who will demonstrate for you how to use the software and also make live trades, and there's some great traders in there, so you need to get in there, guys. All right, and after all that, you think that would be enough, but no, we also offer TI University, all right, and this is something you need to register for once you subscribe to Trade Ideas, and what it is, it's a class that starts every Monday at 12 Eastern. We start with Beginners 101 on Monday, and we run it every day until Thursday, and Jamie finishes up with 401 Advanced on Thursday. So you need to get in there. It's if you can't make it during that time, guys, we do have these recorded on our YouTube page playlist. It's really easy to find if you just go to our YouTube channel. Just search for Trade Ideas and go to the playlist, and you'll find TI University, and all 4 segments will be in there. All right, I'm going to be talking a lot about this feature, this product, module, whatever you want to call it today. It's called Brokerage Plus, and you know, it's a way to automate your trading, but it does a whole lot more than that, and we're finding out more and more about what this incredible interface will do. And take it from myself, I've been trading for 20 years. I can't tell you how many execution platforms I've used. I've never seen anything so smooth and neat and cool as the Brokerage Plus. Going to be showing you some stuff today on it. So if you want more information about that, just go to trade-ideas.com/beta. All right, here's the agenda, guys. We're going to do the market recap. Kind of a slow, mundane market today, but we'll talk about where we at and where we may possibly go. And then Holly recap some pretty, Holly Grill had some pretty decent trades in it. Jamie will take that and break down a few of those for us. And then I'm going to open up and show you guys how you're going to trade Holly in the Brokerage Plus. We got the new developmental version out, hopefully coming out to you next week. I'm not going to make any promises, but we are going to go through and show how these trades are going to be set up. You guys are going to have to bear with me and help me a little bit today here, because I just got shown this last night by Michael Noss. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to experiment and play around with it, but I know enough to get us all in trouble. So it's going to be fun, and then I'll hit some key points, guys, about first of all setting it up. Next, how you want to paper trade first with it, and then I'm going to tell you some things to curtail expectations, guys. I think a lot of people are coming in here, like we discussed, think they're just going to hook up Holly to the computer and go have breakfast and go golfing and come back and make a lot of money. That's not what it was designed for. And if that's what you're hoping to do, I'm sorry, you're going to be disappointed. But let's do this. Let's back out now and talk about the market recap. All right, let me get a swig of water right before I get started. Well, guys, here we are, and here is that level we've been trying to get through now for about 6 months, and you can see we're barely poked above it, but really we keep kind of closing right at it. I mean, you can see pretty much lines up with this high, that one didn't quite make it up that high. There you go again. Didn't close that day above it, even yesterday. So really, on the magical levels is 281. We closed just above it today, but not enough to really have a whole lot of conviction for me. We're gonna have to see what happens here, guys. This and like I said, I think if we can get through it, there's going to be a nice move in this market. You know, possibly really quick up to this level, which is another 5, 6 points in the spiders. But if we don't, here's what happens, guys. You get a lot of frustration. Not only you get these longs that are entering, that keep entering, think we're going to push through. You also have people that may have been stuck over here that never got out, and now they're finally at this level again, and they're like, okay, if this time we don't go through, I'm going to get out. Anyway, what I'm saying is, guys, we keep trying this level, and it can be real frustrating for both the people who've been holding for a while and the people who have entered recently thinking we're going through. So there could be, a pretty good downturn if we cannot make it through. But I keep saying that. I thought we may have seen it over here, but we're going to try one more time. I mean, we started out, that was a pretty decent pullback for sure, but I was even thinking and hoping it would be a little steeper than that. Well, the next one could. So we'll see what happens. I mean, honestly, I think really is if you're if you're a swing trader, I don't know, or an investor, this is one of those areas where you might just want to sit on the fence and see what happens. Even if you do miss the first couple of days in a move, sometimes it's best just to wait it out and see which side wins. It is a very critical level there, and we'll see what happens. We'll take a look at the spiders. I'm sorry, the Qs. Qs look a little bit different, but they don't have the very defined level that the spiders did. You had this move was actually higher, then it's kind of a trend more than just a straight line resistance level. But if you use the high back over here, that's kind of where we're at. But once again, it's obviously a little bit different than what you're seeing in the spiders, so you don't have that heavy resistance level. And the diamonds, once again, a little bit different. You got a few points here like the spiders, but nothing as defined, and really kind of showing relative weakness here in the market. Probably Boeing having a lot to do with that. Always remember there's only 30 stocks that comprise of this index. So one major one that's like Boeing can really kind of take it down. And really the financials, you're going to have a few financials in here. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they haven't, I guess I should pull up the brokers. Let's just pull up Goldman Sachs, see what it's been doing lately. Just not doing a whole lot. in the Dow. JP Morgan, once again, nothing looking like the spiders, you know, or the Qs there. So they're going to have a heavy influence. So the Dow is lagging. One last thing, IWM looks very much like the Dow. That's another sector that's not acting like the leaders there for sure. But other than that, Jamie, that's about it. I think it's just kind of wait and see mode here. We're still not through this resistance.
Yeah, what did we close a dime above?
Yeah,
That 281 level.
281, which is kind of the, you know, some people are calling it 280, but I can, you know, regardless, like I always say, it's more of a general area for me than a defined point. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I don't have a whole lot to add. I think Jamie's going to probably have some stuff to talk about. You know, I like the fact that it was, look at the day, guys. Look what Holly had to work with. A lot of back and forth, tight range, just not a whole lot going on. So when I see that, I love to see a very low trade count. And Holly Grail did pretty good in that low trade count, Jamie.
Yeah, she did. And considering, let's see, not including today, the past 4 days have just been up, 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 and up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, butting up to that 281 level. Hey, no big surprise that we were just kind of inchworming along today.
Yeah.
Back and forth, which we all know that does not create the most conducive market environment.
No, it doesn't.
A lot of different action in the past 3 or 4 days that we've been seeing. But to see Holly 1.0, you know, pull out some decent pointage here, 2.78 points on only 7 trades. Yeah, gotta appreciate that. And just enough for some risk on, and you know, we got a couple of risk on examples here to go over. Maybe even one in NEO, 2 hold trades out of NEO. A little bit of risk on there to cover as well. So whenever you need me to take it, just let me know.
Okay, before I do, I'm going to ask, is that right? I did not know the Waleed saying the 7.2 is here. They got the beta, or is that correct? Oh man. Okay, guys, you guys will be looking at the same thing I'm looking at then. That
Excellent.
Is cool. Good stuff. All right, Jamie. Yeah, just feel free to take it away. Talk for as short as you want or as long as you want. It doesn't matter to me. So.
Well, it is what it is.
That's right.
Holly giveth, we taketh. So you got eyes on, right?
I do.
Okay. Well, technically, there is a little bit of a spread in between, you know, risk on and risk off on the SMAR. What do we got here? If that was 90, we'd have 29 cents. So I guess this one's worth looking at, although it's nothing to write home about. Holly calling the trade right here. One of those where we get that immediate gratification. Boom, 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 up, up, and away. Not even flirting with that entry line. You know, a lot of times we get a sideways movement, which, in my opinion, after we look at these next 2, always represents, you know, an opportunity to leverage the position. But in this case, on the SMAR, we get the signal right here, 44.24, and then over the next 45 minutes, boom. Holly makes a pretty good exit up here in risk-off mode, locking in that 89 cents, which is strong. Just, hey, can't really hit it any better than that for the initial move. Gets out up here, thing flattens out for a little bit and finishes a little bit higher. So maximum trade potential was up here. And close value is reflecting 118. So at this point here, we were up even considerably more on risk on. So once again, how do we play? How do we try to extract some of this spread between risk off and risk on? Well, we see Holly exiting and we simply make the decision based on the action of the trade and what we're seeing on the chart. Do we feel comfortable holding when Holly is getting out, right? So we could have made that decision on this one. Once again, kind of reverting back to the 50-50 rule. Unless you know, sometimes you feel really strong about a trade, you'll keep the whole lot for hopefully making a little bit more than Holly does in risk off. But until you get used to that and feel comfortable with it, do the old 50-50 methodology, peel out a half, take half of that off the table with risk off mode, locking in that profit. And this is a good example of one that if we did set a break-even point back down to the entry signal on that second lot, we would have stayed in it and enjoyed somewhere between here and here, maybe even a little bit higher based on where the stock went before the close. Now, another positive factor about this trade, what do we have here? The green line is the 10-period SMA. Once again, acting as the guiding hand, as our good buddy Steve Gomez likes to say. So just a lot of positive attributes about this trade. Folding in that 10-period SMA as well can help us. Now, what do we always notice? Most of the time when stocks are really in play and they're adhering to this 10-period SMA, it's because, well, it's in play, but also the volume is there to support the move. Look down here at my single stock window. Finished the day at 3.38 relative volume. Not a bad habit to get into. Looking at these Holly trades, checking out the volume, consulting that 10-period SMA can give you additional things to give you confidence in the trade. So not a huge difference there, but still a really good setup, and the trade acted very well, keeping us in the trade if we did decide to go risk on with a 0 risk on the second lot. Well, I say 0 risk, but back down to flat, in other words. So if it does roll over, you still got the money on the first lot. It happens from time to time. Now, the next one, Yeti, a little bit different of a story. We have 63 cents here in the spread between what Holly took on 17 cents in risk-off mode, profit save. Now, this one is a little bit more like what I was describing earlier. We get the signal from Holly right here. We get a little ebb and flow up and down, but then we get some retracement back to the entry line. And in the next 30 minutes, getting on up there to where Holly peeled out of it. Now, why did she get out? Profit save. That is one of the audibles that we give her other than profit target, stop loss, and timed hold. We give her the ability to close a winner or a loser early, either in reduce risk or profit save mode. And typically, when profit save triggers, it's because we're getting some sideways movement. And that's what we got here. You know, it's a little stretched out, but basically we're just hovering along that entry signal. So another way to explain it is the longer she's in a trade and it goes sideways, in other words, it's not going the direction intended, then that's when she is more likely to pull the plug and take the money because the trade is taking longer to work. Now, what do we have once again? We got that 10-period moving average just, man, it's surfing it, right? It's walking that tightrope. Life on the fast line, as Steve likes to say, right? So once again, hey, look down here. Volume was strong all day. People buying $300 and $1,000 coolers. This company is doing quite well. And I got to admit, I've used one before. They work very well. It's just like, wow, really? What a novel concept. It's like a better mousetrap, but a cooler. So in any case, when we see Holly making that exit right here, what else stands out here? Kind of dips down to the entry line. So if we played the half and half, got out a half with Holly, kept the other half, used that break-even stop, we would have stayed in this one as well and enjoyed the remainder of that risk-on spread. So very good opportunity in the Yeti trade. We've also got Plan down here doing a little bit of the same. Not quite as strong on the volume, but still, I mean, anytime you're 1.5 on path to do 50% more volume, that's a good indicator, right? Once again, we got the 10-period in the, in this initial move right here, adhering to it as well. So Holly gets out right here. Why did she get out of this one? Once again, keep in mind, I'm looking at 15-minute bars here. So, it's about a 45-minute period between here and here. If we put this on 5-minute candles, we'd see more of a consolidation through this area here in this 30 minutes. But once again, sideways action. She pulls the plug early. We've seen this over and over again. This is while she's in risk-off mode, takes a little excursion down, but no stop out. Once we get here and she exits and we get into this bar, what else do we notice here? using that break-even stop loss would have kept us in this one as well. So these are 3 great examples, all high volume, all of them surfing the 10-period SMA. This one does get a little bit bleedy as the day progresses, but look, you know, if you were looking at this area as far as risk on goes, that's exactly where we ended, right? So 3 great examples of trying to extract risk on spread between risk off and risk on mode here. Now, I will take the time to go over CD&A because we always talk about trade rounds when they present themselves. At first glance, you're looking at this, you're like, huh, trade around. However, this one would have been a little bit hairy here because we get the entry signal and then wham. I mean, we get stopped out in the next 15-minute bar. We always talk about, hey, sometimes it'll gravitate back up to that line. We take the second entry. You're like, okay, I'll take the second entry. Wham again, right? And then not only that, but man, it takes an excursion way below the stop loss. Hey, third time's a charm. Maybe you would have just got back what you lost in these first 2 trades. So, Andy, it's going to be interesting because, you know, we always talk about making a second entry, and sometimes the second entry works. You know, this one, you know, would have caused a lot of pain and suffering.
Yeah, I would have.
But if you did play the third, you would have gotten some of that back and probably gotten back to minimal damage or maybe even close to flat. But hey, who likes to do that, right? So it's going to be interesting moving forward because this new functionality that we're releasing in Brokerage Plus, where you can automate the Holly strategies, you're going to have that option to make second and third entries. So, you know, we're all going to find out together, well, hey, sometimes does a second one get it? Sometimes does a third one get it? Will we see many where there's a fourth occurrence? You know, 3 is about the most I've seen as of late, and this is a perfect example. But just wanted to point that out. Don't just like to cover all the winners because, you know, even though we're showing 74 cents here, you know, you would have had to endure all this, right? So just wanted to point that out. And I'd be remiss if I didn't at least talk about this one down here since it was the only short coming out of NEO today. And even though there's not a massive dollar amount here, it's still over 2x. You know, 36 cents would be 2x. This one's showing 39 cents. And it was a decent little short because here's the entry signal up here. And then once we get down, you know, once AKCA starts coughing it up, we're in the money right here. Holly takes her profits. Once again, not bad on the volume, not anything to write home about with 1.26 on the finish. But once again, the important thing is the break-even line up here. Had we chose to do the 50-50 method, book our profit with Holly, keep that second one for a break-even stop loss, we would have stayed in it and had the opportunity to extract a little bit of that spread between 18 and 39 cents. And it adds up over time, you know.
You bet.
Making a nickel, making a dime, making an extra 15 cents here and there really does add up. And that's about it for Holly. You know, a relatively low trade count, 10 trades between all 3 modules, but not a very bad point total, tacking on the 43 cents and the 278, a little over $3 on 10 trades. Man, not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
Yeah, so let me kick it back over to you.
All right.
We'll see what kind of candy you got in store.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do here. Let me, alrighty. All right, I'm so glad that you guys got that version, the beta version up and running. So now you guys who do already have Brokerage Plus can follow along with me as we kind of go through the module here and setting up. And once again, like I said, I just went through a quick webinar last night with Michael Noss. He kind of showed me the ropes a little bit. I'm going to know a lot of this. There may be a few things that I'm not going to know, but it's pretty cool. Now, let's start off with, okay, the whole idea behind this new version is to be able to automate Holly. So what you're going to want to do is go to your new tab, and this is where you're going to find the Holly AI tab. You want to add that tab in there, and that way you'll have your tabs along with your positions, accounts, orders, and all that. You'll now have a Holly AI tab. Now, what you want to do, okay, what's going to happen when you turn that on? It's going to be easy for you because all the strategies for the next morning are going to be in here. Okay, they're going to probably come over like this. Okay, well, everything will be off. There we go. And you will have to decide what you want to turn on, if anything. Now, you could come in here if you wanted to trade every strategy. Just go ahead and highlight them all like that. Right click and enable. 13 strategies. Maybe all you want to do is play the long side. Okay, click the long button up here. It will highlight all the long ones for you. Then you would just right click, enable the 10 selected. Let's see, disable 13 strategies. Sorry, I enabled them. There we go. Let's say it's a down market. You look like it feels like it's going to go down. Maybe you want to just play the short strategies. You would have had 3 to choose from today. That's the way you would do that. Now, how do you put in your order size? Okay, it's not going to be the same as you have done over here, where you actually put in a strategy and you create the strategy. It's going to be a lot simpler, actually. So let's take a look at how you're going to do that. Okay, you're going to right click, okay, inside here, and you have a choice for edit long trading instructions, edit short. I'll come back to re-enter. That's going to be a subject for later. You can enter short strategies. And so let's just do the long right now. So let's say you come in here, edit long trading instructions. And I'm not sure about the name here. I think this is the name that's going to appear in your position windows when something is executed. So you may just want to come in here and put Holly long or something like that. And because you remember, this is going to be your long strategy. Okay, account, I'm assuming this, if you had more than one count, you would be able to come in here and change it from your account drop down. Okay, most people, if you just have one account, it's not going to make any difference. You probably just want to do it just to make sure that's the right account and number in there and everything, but that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be on your default account, but I guess this is in case you have more than one account and you want to choose between the two. Okay, AI trade mode, risk off. I'm not sure I like this word. I think I'm going to talk to them about maybe changing it to AI entry mode, well, but you can see what's happening here. You're going to have 3 options. You're going to have, if you want to go risk off, you go risk on, or best of risk off, risk on. The segment that is working at the time, which basically you have 3 segments here, right? You have Holy Grail 2.0 and Neo. Let's use today for example. Let's say you're trading Holy Grail, okay, or a strategy from Holy Grail, and you were in best of risk off, risk on. Well, what's going to happen is it's going to detect what is working best in that strategy, and it's going to take that. So in other words, you would take it risk on. Or you wouldn't do it, it would do it for you. You would do a risk on trade. So I hope that makes sense. My question to Michael Noss today was, okay, what if you do select this one? What is the first trade of the day from that segment going to be? And he goes, that is a damn good question.
So well, yeah, Andy, let me play devil's advocate here a little bit. Yeah. So open up that trade mode menu one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And it says best of risk on off segment at time. Does it say time or T over there or at?
You know what? It's kind of, and once again, this is just, I don't know if I can expand the box. Let's see. No, it's not gonna expand that for me. I don't think. No, it's not going to do. I think it's, that's probably what it's going to say. Segment at the time. So, which means if an alert fires from Holy Grail, at the time she is reflecting risk on to be the best, that is the trade mode. She's
gotcha. It's whatever's showing in the channel bar over there at the time, correct?
Whatever's over here in the channel bar. Okay, so if it came out of Neo today and it was in risk off, it's going to take that trade in risk off mode. you know, my preference. I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you my advice later on all this and how I think you should kind of tiptoe into this. But for right now, I'm just going to I'm trying to break it down as best I can. I hope that makes sense to people. You can go risk off, which means for whatever reason Holly gets out, you're going to be getting out too. You can go risk on, and you will stay in the trade with Holly until the end of the day, unless there is a stop out. If the stop out, you're going to be stopped out, and that is where the re-entry enabled. And I'll come back to that in just a minute. Or you can do best risk on or risk off, which means whatever is reflecting at the time is what you're going to enter that trade, what mode you're going to enter that trade in. All right, so if risk on is showing up over here and alert is fired in that segment, you're going to be taking that trade in risk on mode. All right, position size, very similar to what you guys have already been using in Brokerage Plus. This is no different. Fixed dollars, fixed shares, based on stop loss. And I have no idea why it's defaulted to 10,000. That's a lot, but
like $10,000 stop loss, yeah.
You know, honestly, when you first begin, you're going to paper trade, and then you're probably going to go with something like $10 or $50 at the most. You know, you want to be careful with this at first.
Yeah, Andy, we probably should make a recommendation that 0 just needs to show up in that box.
Yeah, I think
first,
it's probably, you know. Yeah. Don't have a defaulted value of 10,000. All right, but that's, you know, position sizing. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, you know, honestly, guys, I was going to save a lot of this for the end, but while I'm on the subject, you know, if it were me, and I'm honestly, first of all, you want to be at your computer when you're doing this. You're not going to be able to come in here, cut this on, and leave, and expect to come back to great profits. It's just not. That's not the way it's going to work. So I would recommend starting off everything in risk off mode. Okay, because guys, remember how intuitive our software is. Remember how you're going to be able to let me grab this real quick. CCLP. Gosh, I wish I had. You're going to be able to grab these stops. So let's say this trade goes off and it's triggered, and your stop's down here at 290. This is obviously a small price stock. You're immediately going to be able to grab this and toggle it back and forth. Okay, so you know that's the way I see it playing out. Some traders are going to toggle this and give it a little more wiggle room. Some may tighten it up, saying, "Well, I want it tighter." If you're in risk off mode, everything's going to come with a stop, and it's going to adhere to that stop. And it's also going to adhere to the profit saves, and it's going to adhere to the reduced risk. Okay, so it's up to you. You can actually start out in risk on if you wanted to and still move your stop. But whichever avenue you take, guys, I just you know, you want to exercise precaution when doing this. So let me get back into the edit long instructions. All right, so you fix your dollars. Your order entry, very similar to what you're already using in, yes, Waleed, walk before you run for sure. And in this case, crawl before you walk. Excuse me, let me get a drink of water. Entry order is very similar to what you're already experiencing in Brokerage Plus. You're going to do a limit, okay? If you want to do a market, you can do a market. I do not recommend it. Okay, you could get some gnarly fills. The last price is going to be the alert price, and then you can toggle this limit off, you know, offset to wherever you want. You know, there's going to be different ways, and this is why, guys, this is the way we want people to use this. Like, I'm already thinking, you know, if I'm using this, I may come in and just throw something silly in here, like instead of using something to be aggressive, maybe I just come in here and put 0.10, 10 cents, you know, in my favor. So in other words, you know, just throw out a, you know, every alert that comes off, I want to get it 10 cents better and see what happens, or maybe even go further out of the money. See what happens. You're getting a better price. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work, but you're obviously getting a little better price. I can tell you right now, on some of these thin stocks that may only do 200,000 shares a day. And if it's a momentum trade, more than likely you're not going to get filled at negative 0.02. Okay, more than likely it's going to be probably you're going to have to put in an offset of about 0.05 to 0.08.
And Andy, that brings up a good topic on these ones that go sideways before they actually take that next leg up or down, depending on if it's long or short. Using out of the money bids and offers, you can get that fill, because on the ones that kind of ebb and flow, you know, above and below the entry price before they go, it's quite possible to get better prices than Holly. There is such a thing as positive slippage.
Very, very good point, Jamie. And basically this is the same thing, timed in force, 120 would be 2 minutes. That's a very good point. I'm already thinking, my wheels are turning about going with these contrarian trades where you know, you're buying on support. That's a contrarian. Putting on the brakes, that's a fade on stocks going up. Maybe I come in here and only do the contrarian, in other words, the fading trades, and I do what I just showed you, and I do 10 cents to the better. So in other words, I'm going to be inside the market and 10 cents to the better. So maybe I can catch even a better. We've showed you time and time again on these fading trades where you can get better prices a lot of times. So there's going to be so many different ways to work this, guys. And I'm telling you right now, if you think you're going to come in and get every trade that Holly gets and get out on every exit that she gets and make tons of money, it's not the way it's going to work. It really isn't. This is where, you know, everybody who's asked me, you know, how do I trade Holly? How do I see Holly? You know, how's the best way to use Holly? I always tell them the same thing. Holly is a very great alert. Okay, alert window. Great because she has statistical weighting, probability behind her. Okay, I also have some very good alerts that I have built and that I use. Now, does that mean I take every trade that comes out of there? No, heck no. I take a look at them. You know, I take a look at them and see if it fits what I like to trade. That's the same thing I do with Holly. I'm not going to trade every trade that comes out of there. Does that defeat the purpose for trying to auto trade? Not necessarily. I think you can still come in here and, you know, look for the ones that you do, the pullback alerts, maybe like quarterback, on support, you know, and be less aggressive and more passive in your entry, trying to get a better price. You know, strategies like that I think are going to work. And let me tell you some more advice. Okay, I don't see any reason why you have to come in here before the bell rings and decide everything you're going to do. Why don't you do this? Keep everything in the off position. You may miss a few sunrise movers, but if you've seen it as well as I have, if the market's not right on those things, they can kill you. Okay, but the point I'm making is come in before the bell opens, all in the off position, and just sit back for the first half hour and get a feel of what the market's doing. Because maybe the market opens up and it's, you know, it's a gap down and it starts selling off and you're not seeing any signs of any bounce. You know what? Maybe you don't want to come in here and load up on a bunch of long strategies. You will get, you know, you will get better at it. You know, there's, I don't see any reason why you should have all these picked out. Most of the time, Holly doesn't even make a trade until after the first 30 minutes anyway. So you can get a feel, and remember, guys, if Holly calls that, if it's not turned on and Holly calls that on alert, that doesn't mean you miss it. It just means it's not being auto trade. You can still come up real quickly in your chart, right click and trade from your chart that quick. So you may be off, what, 2 or 3 seconds, or maybe even if it's 5 or 10 seconds, you're not going to miss that much. Let's see what other advice that I have. I'm trying to see if I don't think I missed anything else in setup. Oh yeah, I did want to go to re-entries enabled. And guys, once again, you want to paper trade it first. You want to paper trade this, and what the re-entry does, guys, is let's pull up Holly trade again. All right. Gosh, this is such an ugly chart. It's a bad example. Let's see. Let me see one. What's one that got stopped out, Jamie? I don't have all my Hollies up.
The stop out was CDNA. Charlie Daniels, right. Nancy Alpha.
All right. So what this is going to do, the reentry. Okay, right now, in the future, I think we're going to have it more configurable, if that makes sense, to where you can choose your reentries. Right now, what it's doing, it's picking the midpoint between your entry and your exit. Okay, that's going to be your reentry. Okay, so in other words, like Waleed was alluding to the other day, he's like, gosh, I find it a lot of times if I just buy the stop out, you know, that's a great price. You know, it's a great place to buy it. Well, the problem with doing it right, you know, if you're in it and you get stopped out and you try to buy it right through the stop price again, what will happen a lot of times if you're doing these re-entries, it may go back and forth around that stop price, you know, 4 or 5 times, and you can't sit there and be jumping in and out. You're going to turn too many commissions. So what we set up right now is at the midpoint, let's say right here, okay, your re-entry is going to be at the midpoint. So in this case right here, if you got stopped out and you had re-entry selected, it would re-enter you, know, which would have been a good trade right there if you scalped it, but it would re-enter you right there at the midpoint between the entry price and the stop price. You will have the option, okay? Yeah, it makes sense, Waleed. You will have the option to have that turned on or turned off. And once again, you will set this up just like you would set up your other trading strategies with your risk off, risk on. More than likely, guys, if you're going to be, you know, sitting around doing re-entries, you're probably going to be watching this stuff pretty closely. Because the problem with risk off in this one, Jamie, is I don't know if it would calculate another stop for you, or I think it would probably use the same stop, wouldn't it? I don't know.
I would think the same stop would be used because the entry is the same as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you might just go risk on if you're going to be watching. Like I said, if you're a trader who can be the lucky ones to afford to sit around and trade all day, you might want to just go this risk on and then just manage it. You know, manage your stop. You know, you can always input it manually and all that. So, and then just manage it from your chart there. All right, but yes, other than that, everything else is the same exact setup as your long and your short entry. The one thing I have to find out, guys, and like I said, we just launched this. I do need to find out what happens if you are in best of risk on, risk off on the very first trade of the day. I'm assuming it's going to be in risk on, but I don't know that for sure. So be careful.
And it's funny you say that because I mean I never really have paid attention to look to see. Do they all start off just risk off when there's no trades there, or is it risk on? I guess
I don't even know if it displays anything. I haven't either, Jamie. Yeah.
Well, we'll see tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. We will. It's good point. All right. More advice. Okay. First of all, paper trade first. Okay. Gauge the market the first 1/2 hour. I told you about that. Don't feel like you have to come in and have all these things geared up and ready to go right at the bell. That's not what you have to do. You know, some people you may want to wait 45 minutes, an hour. You know, I don't know, until you get a good feel of the market, and then maybe if it's a nice trend in market, maybe then you turn on quarterback. Try to catch things that are pulling back. You know, you're going to have to use some good old trader sense along with this, you know, auto trading. And you're going to have to manage. It's, once again, we've always preached man and machine. You're going to have to manage this stuff. Another thing Michael and I were talking about last night, I do a lot of this in my own trading, and so does he. Start out small and scale in. Remember how I showed you a lot of these entries with Holly, how they're no pain entries, all right? You get an entry and then it doesn't look back, no pain, it goes, and okay, take a 1/2 size, take a 1/3 size, maybe your first entry. And then, if it does go against you, you're not losing that much. If it looks like it's going to trend and then you get a pullback, maybe you buy another third. You can kind of surf these things, kind of sway with the market a lot. I like to use that term a lot. Don't feel like you have to just go all in and all out. You can add to your winners and you can cut your losers quickly with only 1/3 of size instead of a full size, especially
Very
at the
good
first.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, it's obviously everybody's going to be trading at IB because this is the only place it works, and they've got a really competitive commission schedule. So
Yeah, it's based on share size. Yeah, shares. So
nothing wrong with doing 50, 30 share lots if you want to see what happens. That way, if things go south, you're not going to really take that big of a financial beating, and it's more about just overcoming commissions until you, I guess, find your sea legs, so to speak.
Exactly. And not only that, a lot of our stops are 25, 35 cents. So yeah, if you're taking a third of a size, you're not going to get your head cut off, and not only that, maybe you can stomach the stopping price. If you're seeing a lot of trades go down and get stopped out and then bounce, it just gives you, more flexibility when you're trading. All right, let's see. Yeah, but regardless of whether you're scaling in, do go small size at first, even after you've paper traded for a while. You want to get a feel for this, okay? Because I've seen a lot of people coming in, and a lot of them really don't even know how to trade, and they're just coming in to hook it up to the AI, and hopefully it makes money. And I'm afraid they're going to be disappointed. It's not what it was designed for. And we've always preached idea generation, trade ideas. That's what we're all about. Okay, we generate ideas. The onus and responsibility is on the traders. And I think, and this Brokerage Plus once again is such a great tool, guys. Even if you don't like, you don't even have to use Holly if you don't want to. You can do your own strategies.
Yeah, or maybe just launch your favorite strategies, launch your favorite Holly strategies, and then you got your manual stuff as well.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of this. It's a menu.
Yep.
You don't like downward dog, don't trade downward dog. If horseshoe up or, the engulf strategy, Andy, is a fairly newcomer.
Yeah, it's doing pretty
good.
Doing
quite well. It reminds me of when the vault was in play and it was hot, and then it quit working. Yep. Engulf has made an appearance the past couple of days, or past couple of appearances over the past 2 or 3 trading sessions. It seems to be doing good. Mm-hmm. So, the ability to pick and choose, do it all, or just do a few, it's all up to you.
Exactly. Good point, Jamie. And also, guys, you can sort these columns. So if you wanted to, maybe you only wanted to play the top 3 winning percentages. You could do that. I'm not suggesting that you do that, because the time you do that, these bottom 3 will kill it, But yeah, I think the best scenario, guys, is maybe only trade a few of these strategies at first. Be patient the first half hour, and then decide maybe cut a few on and see what happens. Remember, you can always manually go in. If something doesn't auto trade, you can manually go in and trade it really quick. But it's going to be cool. It's a nice little add-on to what we already have, the ability to trade your own strategies. So it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But I know a lot of people, I'm afraid we tried to keep down the expectations, because once again, we've always said this is idea generation and you have to trade it. And I think with a lot of people coming in, there's going to be some slippage, no doubt. So try to come up with think about that, and try to come up with some of your own not strategies as far as building alerts, but strategies and ways that you can play this to benefit you, whether you're trying to get better prices, whether you're being less aggressive and being more selective. I think is the way way to go about this. Let's see if I missed any questions here. Yeah, Jamie helped you that. We do have Julie. We have a if you go to our website and go down into the any page at the bottom and go to our blog. On our blog, we have a graph there of Holly's P&L versus the S&P 500, and it has kind of a breakdown of the strategies in there and what how they've performed. All right. All right, guys, that's about it, guys. Just remember, take it easy at first with this thing, okay? There's more than one way to skin a cat and play this thing, so think about it. You know, use it to benefit you. Don't feel like you have to come in, turn everything, and I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't just turn everything on and walk away and go risk on. You're gonna get hurt. All right. So that's not what it was meant to do.
Now, Andy, just to clarify, even though people have access to this version which supports it, when they pull the tab up, it's going to tell them that they're not permissioned. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in our meeting today, didn't Dan say we're releasing next week sometime?
Yes.
Okay.
He said it's ready. That's why I was surprised to see it.
That's why they pushed this version out, but it's not permissioned yet. So next week, when we officially release, then we'll go through the back office and just do a blanket enable, right? Okay. So that everybody will then be enabled and off to the races.
So right now, when they pull up the AI Holly tab, you're seeing the not permission there. Is that correct?
Right. A couple of users were saying that. I forgot who it was earlier. They pull it up and it says you're not permissioned, but that makes sense right now.
Correct. We will have to turn it on. Can we paper trade at least now? Probably not. No, because what we're going to have to do, we can't cut off, decide, you know, we can't keep you from going live. That's the problem. So we need to make sure everything is correct. We're releasing this so you guys can at least maybe get a feel of the new version. And you can play around with some of the things because you do have access to your own strategy, so you can play around a lot with the stop and moving the stops and up and back. You may have had access to that already. I'm not sure. But Jamie's correct. What we'll do is sometimes I'm thinking next week, since they spit this out today, that we'll turn everybody's permission on and you will be able to get after it. No, but well, Bruce, you can't paper trade without IB. Not Holly. No, the only thing we're hooked up with right now is IB. Yeah, there's not a whole lot we can do, you know, right now because the paper trading is going to be done.
Yeah, he was just asking if he could paper. Without IB. Yeah. My eyes were playing tricks on me there. I thought it said with. Never mind.
All right, well, I just got somebody with a leaf blower cranking up outside, and I got my window open, so I am going to bring in Scott to walk us out of here. That is time, guys. We will have plenty more to talk about this next week as well, guys, as we do our webinars and as we get ready for it to permission you guys. So just be ready, and I'll bring Scott back in to walk us out.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. A couple things. If you don't have the ebook we released last year, get it. It's free. Andy and Jamie both contributed chapters. It's got 5 chapters. Each one a way to win in a post-BTFD market. Just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook, put in your email address, get the download link delivered to you. We have a podcast, and we release weekly usually. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast in whatever app you use to listen to your podcast in. Add us as a subscription. Get the newest one. Check out the back issues too. We've got some good guests in there. There's a code like we promised at the beginning of the webinar. Spring Forward, all one word, all caps. Saves 15% off the first month or year of any Trade Ideas subscription. And standard subscribers, you can use that to upgrade and save the same amount. If you have any questions, email us info@trade-ideas.com. You can follow Jamie on Twitter @QuantBot. We've also got @TodayTrader as Steve Gomez and @TradeIdeas. Facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro is the Facebook page to follow and share stuff with your friends. But All inquiries should go to info@trade-ideas.com. That goes directly into our help desk software and gets routed to the appropriate team member to help you out. We'll get a recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow, and you get an email reminder about how to find it from GoToWebinar tomorrow. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, all. Have a good one.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.